Hello, Nita.
Hello.
Nita is going to be at our spring book bash, and that's on April 25th. And we're going to be downtown Greer at the Randall House. We'll have about 32 authors and a whole bunch of genres. And I think we're at like around 50 ish, somewhere around in there, from 8 different states. So please share with us which book titles you're going to be bringing with you.
So I will have three book titles. The first one is my debut novel that released about a year ago. Solasta the Highlander Fae is one of my favorites.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
definitely combines that Princess Bride feel with some classic hidden fairy tales in it. Um,
Ooh.
yes, we'll talk about that one a little bit more later because that has some hidden things for it. And then
Ooh.
the next two, I actually just released these this past Christmas. It is my Christmas Around the World book series. We have the Secludi, and then this one, which is very near and dear to me. Let me see if I can get it. There you go. It's called The Night the Coqui Sang for the Three Kings. And this is my love letter to Puerto Rico, which is where I'm originally from. Um,
Ah.
and as a school teacher for 25 years, that was a theme that I did every Christmas is I always wanted kids to kind of learn about different cultures. No matter where we were
Mhm.
at, I wanted you to learn about all the different places. And this past Christmas, I was kind of inspired. I had 2 weeks of Christmas break off. And
Ooh.
I'm like, you know, if I'm going to leave the classroom, I still want teachers to be able to teach what I used to teach and to kind of like
Mm.
spread it everywhere. And so that's where those books came from. So any purchase of those books in the back, you actually have questions, you have activities, coloring pages. There's even a QR code
Ooh.
where you can hear the coqui and you can hear them in a junket in Puerto Rico. But so it's going to be, if things work out, a 9 book series of Christmas around the world.
Oh.
So if there's a culture or like maybe a place that is near
Mhm,
near to someone, maybe they'll see that book and be like, "Oh, that's me," like that's for me.
mhm.
And then for teachers, it gives them resources for the Christmas um, season when things get very hectic in the classroom. By personal experience, you're just trying to get all the cats in one place, and maybe they'll listen to you for 2 minutes. So, when you have planned activities and if it's easy to just pick up a book and your
Mhm.
activities are already in there, it's a lot easier to kinda do. And
Yep.
it's great for our older kids because they can read to the littles. So it creates that big brother, big sister kind of idea, connection with the littles as well. So it's just I don't know why I was possessed to write a children's book, never thought I would, but
Mhm.
it happened over Christmas break, and so I released those 2, and I'm hoping by the end of this year to have a couple more. I already have the list of countries that I kinda wanna explore
Ooh.
and stories, and they're just from my curriculum from the last 25 years. I've just countries that I've always kinda taught, and I was just
Okay.
put it in a book, and then we'll see what happens.
Any heads up on what countries we may be seeing?
So one, which I think is very fitting for today, is actually it. I think it originated in Iceland. I have to double check my research,
Mhm.
and I cannot pronounce it for the life of me. So please forgive me. It's called Jacoboloff, I think,
Mhm.
and the translation is flooding of the papers or flooding of the books, and
Mm.
it's a tradition that began during World War II. And what happened was paper was the only thing not rationed. You could have paper.
Mm.
Everything else was rationed during that time in Iceland. And so that particular year during the holidays, um, gifts were made out of paper. And
Mhm.
then the tradition of gifting books or writing books was kind of like the thing. And so
Mm.
now the more modern day version of it is on Christmas Eve. You're gifted a book and you have chocolate or hot chocolate and you
Ooh.
spend the entire day reading. I mean, like, let
This
me
sounds
just
like heaven.
yeah, yeah. But
Here's
for
a
me,
book. Here's a hot cocoa. Here's some chocolate. Okay.
read all day, like literally the 24th, and they are, I think statistically, they're like the most literate nation in the world. And
Well, that would be
yeah,
probably why. Yeah.
yes. So, like little hint, because this will be the first that I'll announce it, is that'll be the next book in the series. It's going to be from Iceland, and
Mm.
it's going to be based on a World War II story. Like that'll be the background
Okay.
where it originated from, and then kind of transition into this is like the modern day version how they kind of celebrate it today. So, little
I
quick,
I
you know,
do have a friend of mine that is from Iceland, so he might be able to help you with that.
exciting. I'd love it. I'd love it.
Yes.
I
I'll
love
see if I can get him to come to the, spring
Oh
book bash.
my gosh. I would
He's supposed
fangirl
to be
away.
writing a book, but,
Well, I was supposed to be writing book 2 and after Solasta, and well,
Mhm.
we're only about 25,000 words in. So,
So share with us some more about Solasta. Tell
oh,
us some more about that.
so Solasta is, oh gosh, it is many things. It is so many things. It was a dance mom who spent 20 plus hours in the dance studio waiting for her daughter to finish classes. And I then became like integral part of the dance studio because I was always there. So I knew all the info. Um,
Mhm.
but I felt like I need to do something with this time. And I had this amazing principal, which I will always shout out, Miss Granning, forever and always. Part of my teaching professional development was you have to have 3 goals for your teaching career. And first two, she gave it to us. And the third one, she says, a personal goal. And I had started writing Solasta like off and on, but
Mhm.
never really dug into it.
Mhm.
Um, and she presented that opportunity. I was like, I'm good with deadlines. If I don't have a deadline, I tend to kind of lollygag a
Mhm.
bit. So I decided, well, she's my principal, and I have to report to her and tell her how I'm going with this. And so she was kind of my
Ah.
accountability partner in a way. She didn't know it.
Mhm.
And I said, I put down finishing my manuscript, just finishing it.
Yep.
And I, during those hours at the dance studio, started like finishing and writing it. And then came January. So this was August when you're putting all your teacher things in.
Mhm.
December came and I had finished the first draft. Well, your goal is supposed to last all year. And she's supposed to report and update it. And I would finished it in December. So I decided, well, if I'm already done, why don't we just make it into an actual book?
Mhm.
So over Christmas break, I decided I'm just going to make it into a book and self-published, but it was really a hard road. Um, Being a teacher, I'm a great researcher. So literally, it was me spending hours of how do I figure out how to edit a book? No, I'm not
Mhm.
doing it. I'm a math teacher by trade in the beginning. At the end, I wasn't. At the end, I was like, I'm done with math. But in the beginning, I was a math teacher. And so I was just kind of like, I'm going to hire because, like, all of the research, I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I
Yeah.
refuse. And on a teacher budget, you just try to find the way to pay.
Mhm.
And so I found an editor for that part. But my biggest thing was the book cover.
Mm.
I have money. So I was like, Fiverr, I'm going to put in a bid. This is what I want. Who can do
Yep.
it for the lowest amount of money? And
Right?
I found an amazing cover artist. And so I got that part done. And then came the formatting. And I was a masochist and decided to go online, and I forgot what her last name is, but her name is Abby Emmons or something. And she has like this online university and it teaches you how to do formatting using Microsoft. And I'm like, okay, we're going to learn how to do this because I can't pay anymore with teacher money. I already
Right.
paid for the book cover and I paid for the editor. I'm going to have to do the formatting myself. And
Mhm.
so Solasta was a baby that taught me lots of skills, but it also it was my love letter to my hubby. And
Mhm.
um in the I think in the dedication it's like dedicated to him because he puts up with all my craziness. And he was willing to elope with me and we went over to the UK, which is my happy place, which
Ah.
North Solasta's in Scotland. Which why shouldn't it be in Scotland? Um and we eloped and got married in Cumlogin Castle. So he and I got to be a king and a queen
Ooh.
in this beautiful 14th century castle, buried in a 14th century chapel. Just he and I. We had a private chef, violinist.
Oh.
I mean, it was epic. Um, and then we just basically came back home, had a huge party, and showed the video. And I had part-
By the way, we got married. Here's the video.
Yep, yep. So we had a big, nice like reception party, and everybody got to see the wedding and the ceremony and all the things. But the best part of like the whole elopement thing was I had a bagpiper be my escort, a man in a kilt with his bagpipes. He came first, and then I was behind him. I was living the dream. I stepped back into the medieval times. Oh,
Mm.
I was like living my best life at that moment. And it
Mm.
was slightly snowing. We got married on Thanksgiving Day at that
Ah,
time. So it was just perfect. It was like the perfect
which in
setting.
Scotland, they don't care.
Nope. No, no,
They
no,
don't care that it's Thanksgiving in the US.
no, they don't care. I was like,
So,
it's good. And then like I'm freezing in the chapel because it's a chapel
yeah,
with
and
there's
there's no heat. Yeah.
no heat. We had a beautiful candelabra lit up and all the things. I didn't care. I don't think I even felt the cold at that moment.
Mm.
But that's kind of like what Solasta was. It was my dance mom time. It was a love letter to my hubby, and I wanted to return to the classics of literature. And
Mhm.
I love all of our modern day books. I mean, behind me is just not even all of my
Yeah,
books.
I love the library. Love
Thank
it.
you. That's just like this much of what I actually have. My poor hubby. Um, he didn't realize how many books I owned, and I didn't tell him until after we were married.
Smart choice.
Because then he would have to figure out, well, where are we going to put all of this? And we've got places, but that bookshelf behind me was actually my Christmas gift from my hubby. He
Ooh,
indulges me, and so we built that over Christmas, and I got to display some of my favorite books up there.
nice. I love it.
But I wanted to go back in time on how classics used to be written. So that's kind of what Celeste is like. It reads
Okay.
like Princess Bride. It's adventure.
Mhm.
It's that epic good versus evil idea.
Mhm.
Um, and there's a little bit of like, as you read it, you'll find, oh, that's like the Little Mermaid. Oh my gosh, that's like Cinderella. Oh, it's like it's that familiarity of other fairy
Mhm.
tales or classics, but it's
Mhm.
not a retelling, if that makes sense. It's
Yep.
not the whole story. It's just like maybe scenes or clips from
Mhm.
those. And I when I was writing it, I wrote it as if I was writing a movie. So I was seeing it in my head,
Mhm.
and then that's how I wrote it. So it very much reads like if you were in a movie theater. It's not like dialogue and lines, but as you're reading it, it's more of a narrative. You are like
Mhm.
the outside looking in. There's not a point of view perspective. I know a lot of modern books, like right now, it's very
Mhm.
much like first person's view or a specific character's point of view. And
Yeah.
mine's not. So like if that's what you're expecting, it's not the book for you. But if you want to be if you want to be immersed in it though, like you want to feel
Mhm.
like you're part of that world. I love magical realism. So a lot of the
Mhm.
names are real places. And so this was kind of like my marketing idea because I thought
Mhm.
one day I'll become rich and famous. Probably not, but hey, I'm going to say it out loud just because. Um, I was going to create, like the Phoenix Rising or the Rising traveling tours, and you can
Mhm.
go visit all of these locations that were named in Solasta.
I
And so
love it.
like the Castle Dalkeith, which is one of the locations, that's a real
Mhm.
castle. The
Mm.
Scottish Highlands is a real place. Like
Mhm.
so a lot of the things, it'll be very much where you can Google it and be like, "Oh, I can go visit that place." And I was like, "Yeah,
Okay.
go see if you can go see if you can find the Kelpie ring." That's the portal between Solasta and our world. And so
Okay.
the magic is kind of like, wow, that could really happen. It makes you think about
Mhm.
it. And so, and that's just, and I love like King Arthur and like, I love just all of the things. And,
Mhm.
um, that's like, this is my first book. I need to put it in the UK. That's my happy place. This is where I got married. I got to have castles, and I have to have a male ginge because like that male lead has to be a ginge because we don't really get those very often.
This
You
is true.
And so the lead, he's a ginge and he's awesome. And the premise behind all of the Solasta things is we always know about Merlin and King Arthur
Mhm.
together, but we don't know about Merlin before. So my story is giving you the backstory of Merlin. You kind of realize that, oh, he's got a family and he comes from a different place. He's not from our world. And what does that all mean and how does that unravel? But he's not my main character. I call him my Gandalf of the story. He's the thread.
Mhm.
You need him to kind of push along the story, but he's
Mhm.
not your main character. Brianna and Cameron are my two main characters. And Cameron is our laird, and Brianna, she is our fae. And there's lots of great things that will happen. Um,
Mhm.
this was intended to be a standalone, and you know how books
Mhm.
go. Your characters say, no, we need more.
Yep.
Or I had a friend who, when I was first writing it, she got the first copy because I was like, I need you to tell me because I know she's honest. She will tell me like it
Mhm.
is.
Yep.
And she's like, so when's book two coming out? And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? I wrote this as like just a book one, I wasn't expanding this. She's like,
Yep.
She's like, "I need book 2 though." I was like, "But I don't have book 2."
So what are you, that's when you flip the script on her and go, "So what do you want to see in book 2?" Let me write
Yeah,
that down.
exactly. And so she was kind of like, "I need more of this," or, "I wanted more of that." I'm
Mhm.
like, "Okay, I got you." And the way she explained it was, "Your book reads like a movie, but it's kind
Mhm.
of like it's season 1. So I need a season 2." So technically, it's a standalone.
Um,
You can be done with it if you want,
yep.
but it's kind of like it leaves you with, "But can't we go back?" That's what she said. She's like, "But I wanna go back."
Mhm.
And so, yes, I will be writing book 2. That's my current work in progress. And again,
Ooh.
this is my first official interview where I'm deciding to, like, try to do this full time. I'll let you know what the title is. So, our first book was Solasta, the Highlander
Mhm.
Fae. So, Scotland and Highlanders and all that stuff is in there.
Mhm.
So book 2 is gonna be called Leora, the Royal Line.
I
So
love it.
and I guess me being a teacher,
Mhm.
I always love symbolism in words, you know?
Mhm.
And so Solasta, the word that particular word just means of the sun or, like
Mhm.
thinking of brightness. And the people from Solasta, that's kind of their realm, is of the light,
Mm.
of the sun and
Mhm.
agriculture, that kind of stuff. Our main character, she's a healer. And Leora is actually gonna go to my happy, happy place, which is London. So now we're bringing not just Scotland, you now have England. So now we're now the whole
Mm.
continent. So we're traveling from one to the other, and then you'll discover what Leora really means. And
Oh.
Leora, the significance behind that is of the light. So you have of the sun or something of the sun, and then the next one is of
Mhm.
the light. And if this book decides to become like, we need a book 3, then I
Mhm.
have the working title I have already for book 3, but I don't wanna say that one quite yet. I don't wanna say that one yet because I have no idea what my characters are gonna tell me and what they
Right.
wanna do. People don't always understand that concept, but
Yep.
when you're a writer, you are literally prisoner to the characters.
Mhm. Yes.
know? So,
It is amazing.
it is. But again, most of my books, because of my teaching background, have a moral lesson, kind of like the classic fairy tales. So in Solasta, there's a lot of you have to hide who you are, putting that
Mm.
mask on. But then sometimes there's a time and a place where you need to remove the mask and you need to
Yeah.
use your superpower. And as a teacher, that was always my thing is being you is your superpower. Like nobody is you. Nobody can be
Yeah.
you. Like you have these amazing talents that not everybody has. You're a unique package. And
Mhm.
so in Solasta, we explore where you're leaving to save yourself, you're leaving your home, going into another place, and then you have to hide
Mm.
who you are. Hide everything about you because of fear of discovery. And
Mhm.
also, the world you're going into doesn't like people like you. And
Mm.
so you have to hide that, but then eventually there's like this formation of, nope, we got to remove that mask. We got to
Mhm.
lock in and we've got to get this done. If not, then everything is, going to be destroyed. Um, and so in book 1, in Solasta, you kind of explore that sense of identity of who you are. How do you
Mhm.
grow? How do you strengthen? How do you fight? And like that resiliency concept. In book 2, that one's going to unfortunately have to have some trigger warnings, but it's kind of well, it's more of, like, I'm more of a Jane Austen romance kinda girl.
Mhm.
I love the spicy stuff, don't get me wrong, but because I was a teacher and my name I forgot to do a pen name, so next time I'll
That's
make sure
okay.
to do that. But I was like, if my students read book 1, I needed to make sure they could still walk in the classroom and look at me in the face. You know? So my like romance aspects are more like he looked at her or like that love at first sight or it's like that touching of the hand. There's like one
Mhm.
kiss, like there's one kiss kind of idea.
Yep.
Um, not even alluding to closed door things. It's like, nah, man, I'm high school students. Like that's even worse. Like when you got high school kids, they'd be like, Miss Lipan, what you be doing? And so that one was more of like I needed my students to know that they could do hard things. So I was kind of like the model. Like, look, guys, I'm writing a
Mhm.
book. Have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And I,
Right.
at the end of that school year, I gifted my first 20 books to my students
Oh,
because
nice.
I wanted them to know that as long as you put your mind to it and you're willing to,
Mhm.
well, you can get it done. And a lot of them don't have that role model. So I just decided I'll make myself the role model. I'm a masochist. I'll learn the things and I'll do the things to show them that they can too.
Yeah.
And so then I dedicated those first 20 books to them so that they could know whether they read it or not. I have no idea, but they'll know a teacher did something really cool, I guess. And,
Yeah,
that means I can do it.
they may read it just because you wrote it. Even if it wasn't something that they would normally read, they still might read it.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so because it did have that message of like picking yourself up and resiliency. So,
Mhm.
but book two is going to be a little bit darker. It's going to deal with like mental health issues. It's going to deal
Mm,
with you coming into your power and what does that mean? With great power comes great responsibility, and sometimes
yes.
our responsibilities can be overwhelming.
Mhm.
Sometimes our emotions get the best of us and we don't use our talents for good, and it's okay. We can come back from that. So, book two deals with kind of those a little bit darker
Mhm.
concepts,
Yep.
but it's because our character, she needs that.
Yeah.
She was too innocent and pure in book one. So, like book one was more of like, oh, this is so sweet. Let me, like, oh, and then book two is going to like destroy you. So, forewarning, forewarning. Um,
Forewarning, book 2 is not like the first.
no, it's. I don't want to say it's the polar opposite, but I think it's going
Mhm.
to deal with heavier concepts.
Yeah.
The first concept of just hiding who you are, which is more of my branding and my message, and like don't do
Mhm.
that, is in book one. But then in book two, it's kind of you dealing with the fact that you were hiding yourself for so long. What happened
Ah, yeah.
when you are no longer having to hide that? How do you manage it, if that makes sense?
Mhm.
It's because sometimes you still question, am I too much? If I am being too much, how do
Mm.
I rein myself in? And then I'm
Yep.
like, forget all of y'all. I'm going to let it all out. And then sometimes that letting it all out can be very destructive. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and so book two kind of handles those kinds of concepts. And there's a little bit more violence, and it's
Mm.
just because that's kind of like the trajectory of how things work in life. Things
Mhm.
are good for a season, and then there's a
Yep.
season that things aren't good. And book two is not a good season. Like I even struggle writing it. I'm like, whoa, like we just wrote this. We need to take a break. Like I need my own mental health like day from it. But I also feel that if somebody reads it, they can
Mhm.
be like, oh my gosh, I felt that way. And they can maybe see
Yeah.
themselves and know that I might be at the bottom of my barrel, but I can pick up. Like finding the people who are going to help you
Mhm.
bring you back. And then Merlin in book two, that's what he will be. He will be the anchor for our characters, trying to help them come back to who they truly were. Like you truly were a good person or a good this and that.
Mhm.
You just made a mistake, may have been a big one, but you can come back from it. And
Mhm.
it's how you heal from coming back and how you heal others from coming back. And so that's kind of
Mm.
the psychological story.
So, when do you think book 2 will come out?
So my goal is July of this year. That's my
Oh.
goal. And the reason is I really feel that this is more of a summer read. Like this is kind of like
Mhm.
like I'm basing it as a teacher with the school year. There's too much
Mhm.
stuff going on in the school years and all these things, but then in the summer it's kind of like where you become that butterfly. You're the caterpillar, you
Mhm.
have to cocoon yourself, and then maybe you'll molt into something new and then emerge a butterfly come the next school year because kids always love to go shopping and reinvent themselves.
Oh,
So
yeah.
July, I kind of wanted it to be where it's like the summer solstice kind of idea, because the book
Mm.
in Solasta, we have solstices. We have the equinox in there that's kind
Mhm.
of fitted in. And I feel like in book two, we need to have like a summer solstice because that will kind of the idea of fire and things being bright
Mm.
is a big
Mhm.
concept. And since Monday, I officially will become like a full-time author. I'm going to dig in. I'll actually have time and not be splitting my time between
Yeah.
a full-time job and be better at my writing sessions because I'm really not great at a calendar. I know a lot of people have like
Mhm.
every day I'm going to write for 30 minutes, just to get it and get it. And as a mom of two kids, and then as a classroom teacher, and then I was working for a nonprofit, trying to get my programs and helping other students. By the time I was home, I was so exhausted mentally and physically. It was hard to
Mhm.
sit and write.
Yep.
Um, and then on the weekends, it was kind of like, no, because you've been getting, it's just like you're just on high, like drive
Mhm.
all week. And so the weekends was kind of like, I really do need to decompress for my own
Yeah.
self care. And by
Yep.
the time it came time for me, like, ooh, I'm ready to write, it's like midnight. And
Yep.
so I've been writing between like midnight and 2 a.m. But then,
Mm.
it kicks me in the butt because then I have to go to work the next day. And
Yeah.
you know so I want to be more like intentional with my
Mhm.
writing. And so like on Monday I really plan on sitting down. I'm very much OCD ADHD, so
Mm.
I need a checklist and I need like a whole calendar and kind of like the whole idea of like the greatest mind where they have this whole board with all the
Mhm.
formulas. And then once I have it, I'm like, okay, here's my plan, sit, and then I can do. And so I'm hoping, I mean, if it's anything like what happened with my first book, where I just had like accountability with my principal, me giving myself that July deadline is like, you got to get your stuff together, man. July is coming.
Well, on Monday nights, we do virtual writing sessions
Oh,
from
mm,
7 to 9 p.m.
you can be my accountability partners.
Free virtual writing sessions, so they don't even cost anything.
I love it. I love
So,
it.
yes, we meet every Monday. It's 2 hours, it's gentle accountability. It is, "What are you working on?" And it can
Mhm.
be, "I'm doing my outline, I'm doing my writing, I'm doing my illustrations, my social media, let's see, my blog posts, editing." I think that's all. Trying to
Can
remember what other people have done while they've, and it's like,
I,
maybe you're working on the newsletter, maybe you're working on your website or whatever it is that you're working on. It's 2 hours, and we have check-ins during that
ooh,
time. Like,
mm.
"What'd you get done?" "Nothing." Phone rang. "Nothing. I got
Nothing.
nothing." But it's still, and everybody is still like, "Okay, so what are you doing this next writing spring?"
Right.
And so it's that gentle accountability, lovingly, to encourage you to do something the next writing sprint.
Yes. See, I'm all for that. See, now I can take my planner out and I'll be like, Mondays, 7 to 9, you're blocked off. Nobody come and talk to me. Nobody come into the bedroom. We're done.
And too bad you didn't live closer because we also have in-person writing sessions, but
Oh, yes. Well, maybe I can take a field trip one day.
yeah.
We'll we'll see. You know. But yes, so I see, I like that. See, when I have like something or like someone that I needed to go
Mhm.
make sure I have something done, even if it's only like 300 words, I can at least say I got 300 words done.
Yeah, and we applaud any words written or any editing, any number of pages edited, or if
Yeah.
you're in the reading portion of your book, any pages, it's gentle accountability, but it's, "Hey, let's get this done." So,
Yeah.
you'll be able to get that book 2 done for July.
Yes. I'm excited. I mean, I'm really excited, especially like with this start on Monday,
Yeah.
and that's where my brand will be officially launched because I'm going to do a media news release to our local papers.
Nice.
Yes. So
Ooh.
me and my teacher's heart, I love to write, and I've been writing since I
Mhm.
was little. Um, but like even to this day, my mom has like the very first book I wrote
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
popsicle sticks and like construction paper.
Yep.
My teacher heart, I don't know, I don't want to let go of my kids. And
Right.
so my author brand is Phoenix Rising Press, like Phoenix Rising from the
Mhm.
ashes. But my mission is called The Rising, and it's going to be all about access to the arts, whether it's writing, photography, painting, it's anything that is considered an art form,
Mhm.
dance. Um, I live in Western North Carolina where many of my students really we don't have a lot of resources. We don't have
Mhm.
like museums. We don't have, musicals that come and visit us. We have to drive 2 hours to Atlanta or 2 hours to Greenville. Like we have to drive lots of
Mhm.
distances. And economically, it's not something affordable,
Yeah,
Um,
for a lot of people, it's not.
yeah, I mean like I strive, but it's literally I save pennies to be able to take my
Mhm.
kids to like an event. I
Mhm.
really make it a point to try to take them to the theater. Try like my daughter does dance. She's a competitive dancer. So my son, you know what? He goes to every recital. um,
Hey.
and because I want them one to be well rounded, but I also want them to understand the importance of being able to express yourself in whatever art you want. Um,
Mhm.
because that brings you happiness.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like to share. My son's very shy. He's opposite of my daughter. My daughter will be on stage all day, every day if you allow it,
Mhm.
take her heart out. But he is more of like that stoic, quiet kid. He's a 30 80-year-old man in like a 12-year-old body. It's super cute. Um, but he'll sit and he sketches, and he'll
Ooh.
draw, but he doesn't share. And I'm not saying like he's like Picasso, but he's not
Right.
bad. And if he had art classes,
Mhm.
if he was interested in going to an art class, they could really hone his skills and he could be so much more. Um,
Mhm.
but, that's me as a teacher. I'm thinking about that. But there's some parents out there who don't even have the freedom to think. So I
Yeah.
want to offer that to like my communities. So on Monday, the Rising will officially launch, and my very first event will actually be February 27th at the Cowie Arts and Heritage School. They're partnering with me.
Ooh.
Yes, and we have 4 professional artists who are going to be part of our very first art day field trip with one of our local high schools. And the kids get to have 4.5 hours of like master classes with these artists
Nice.
and experience and get to like produce something. And then the artwork that they produce during that art day will then be left at the Cowie School to be I think it's called Kids Month, like arts or Kids Arts Month in March. So their artwork that they've created on that art day will be on display for all of March. And my goal is that I can do these kinds of events, like 4 to 6 events in a year,
Mhm.
and start having like mini art clubs at all these schools where my book sales and my mission, like I can feed into creating art boxes and I can deliver them to schools and like, hey, you want an art club? Here are your supplies. And you know what? As
Mhm.
being a participant, you're going to have an art day field trip event with actual artists that you get to learn from. And I'm really excited because this will be my first like big event as a local author full time and as like
Nice.
this like I don't know, it makes my heart happy. And so like whether I have
Mhm.
the money for it or not, because I really don't, I was very lucky that the Cowie School, they are donating their artists and the supplies. So they're paying for the
Oh.
supplies. Yeah. Um, and my schools, they just liked me from all of my nonprofit works and all the things. And so I was able to connect them and say,
Mhm.
hey, would you be willing to cover your own transportation and lunches? Because I don't have the funding yet, but one day I will. And they're like, kids can bring bag lunches. We'll get you the bus if you can plan the event. And so it's all free.
Nice.
It's all free. The kids are going to be able to meet a comic book illustrator. They're going to meet a local artist who does felting, art felting, another artist who's watercolor and oil painting. And then we have our Alarka Bartram group, which is our outdoor um, trails and everything else.
Oh.
And they do like what's like they do some of our like tree bathing is part of like their thing, going out into nature, and they do
Hmm.
open mic night to share your talents. And so the kids are going to experience all these different things. It may not be for them, but I at least want to say, hey, this door was open. Try it
Yep.
out. If you like it, great. Keep coming back. If you don't, no worries. Maybe next event you'll find something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's like something I'm super passionate about is I want kids to have the arts because I went to a performing arts high school as a
Mm.
musician. And for me, my music was my outlet. Like when you're in high school, you're hormones and everything. Everything's crazy. You need to
Yep.
have something that's constant and that allows you to have that outlet. And I want to be able to provide that to schools, especially since budgets are so short. And the first things that are usually cut out are the arts.
Oh, yeah.
And so I want to be able to provide it so it doesn't cost anything. You know, if you supply the space, I'll supply the supplies. And if you've got a
Mhm.
teacher who's willing to kind of like just run it, then it's a free club and then you get to have access to things. So I'm super excited about that. And kind of like my books, everything that I'm writing is kind of like, okay, I
Mhm.
need to pay, to kind of like maintain my family, but all of this extra we're funneling into the mission because
Yeah.
that's what's important is for kids to have that. And so that's kind of like me in a nutshell.
This is so awesome. I
Thank
absolutely
you.
love that.
Yeah.
I think art is so important, whether it's performing arts, whether it's musical arts, or on paper, or now digital.
Yeah.
There's so much art out there, and it's so encouraging. And yes, our kiddos need this. They need an outlet,
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
is a good this is a really good way for that to happen. So this has been so awesome. We could sit
Oh,
and talk forever about all the
yes.
things. Um, so, but I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me and to announce about Monday. That is so awesome.
Yay. Thank you. I appreciate all the things.
Thank you so much. And I will meet you in person at the end of April.
Yay. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
See you there.
Bye.
Bye.